If you haven't heard, we have a new Ramsey personality, Dr. John Deloney. And you're going to be hearing from him a whole lot more. One of his 2 PhDs is in counseling. And so we thought it would be good for John to coach some of you guys on how to talk to yourself about the anxiety, the fear that's out there, how to talk to your family about it. You might be in a leadership role. We were talking about it off air during the break. Some stuff I'm having to do as the leader in this organization right now, and how to talk to others, yourself, others. If you want to deal with that, the phone number here. If you've got questions for Dr. D, this is your time. The phone number is 888-825-5225. 888-825-5225. So, John, talk about anxiety versus fear. We were talking about the other day, and I loved your take on it.
So anxiety is just an alarm system, right? It's just the fire alarm that could go off at any moment when it smells smoke, right? And you often hear about folks with an anxiety disorder. That just means the alarm's busted, right? We've all been in the building when the fire alarm's going off, and you can't check your email. And they say, hey, don't leave the building, but the fire alarms are going off.
Your brain's fried.
There you go.
From the hearing.
Fear that's something you're experiencing right now. The building, you look out the window and you see flames. That's fear. That's for real, right? And so I think what we're seeing across the country is fear's real. And if you're not scared on that you think people are overreacting, you're not scared that we're all going to die from this virus, you're not scared about fill in the blank, you're not scared that you have 10 kids at your house now that were supposed to be in school, right? Then I think something's wrong with you, right?
Yeah.
You should be feeling something.
You should feel some angst.
There you go.
Some level of fear.
That's right.
So good fear is there, and then that keeps you from touching a hot stove. It causes you to analyze and use your critical thinking skills and really lean into a situation.
Absolutely.
Which is what we're dealing with right now. You might have a financial situation. You might have a career mess right now. You might have a health mess right now.
Right.
And so fear in those situations are smart. Overcorrecting with fear, what I've been calling hysteria, and it might not be clinically the correct term, but I'm calling it hysteria, which is people that are just afraid. They're in panic mode. The difference in fear and panic. Talk about that.
Panic is the response, right? It's screaming and yelling and running out the door. And the only thing that you're going to do when you scream and yell and run out the door is trip your neighbor, knock over their lighter so that you set the building off. Panic solves nothing. It solves nothing. And it takes a situation and compounds it, makes it worse.
Yeah.
Everybody, the guy who trained me in crisis counseling, Dr. Andy Young, used to always tell us before we went into a situation, calm is contagious. You walk into a situation and you're running and screaming, you just take everybody else's temperature up with you. Walk in, assess the situation, slow down, bring the room down, and then you can make good decisions.
I had when I was 22 years old, I was working for a guy, and we were building custom homes, and he used that technique in a little different way. If we had a customer that was irate and sat down in the office, the louder they got, the quieter he got.
That's right.
The louder they got, the more he lowered the octave in his voice intentionally. It was just like Chris Hogan is real quiet and calm. And what it does, it just sucks the drama out of the air.
My dad was a hostage negotiator. It used to drive me crazy when he did that to me as a kid, right? I'd come in all freaked out, and he would just kind of bring it down. That's right.
Yeah, the volume down and the octave down and the pulse rate down, and then because no one makes good decisions when they're panicked.
That's right. And when we experience fear, naturally, it's wired into us. We start scanning the environment for fear. And now we're in a world where there is no shortage of people trying to sell us fear. And so it's coming on our phones, it's beeping on our wrists, it's on our TVs, it's everywhere.
And it's really contagious.
It's insane. Clinically so, right? And so it's how do you turn the noise off? How do you turn it down, bring it down a notch?
And I think some of the times what happens is, when I was talking to our team yesterday, I was describing to them the idea that the physiological response to fear and anger is pretty close. The same things happen to your body in both cases. You have the same, your eyes dilate, you have a protein endorphin release and adrenaline release, your heart rate changes, so fear and anger feel a lot alike. They are cousins, aren't they?
I think physiologically you can say that. That's fair.
Yeah, and then just how we choose to name it in those situations, what your default mechanism is. My default is anger. My wife's default is fear. I've got a good friend whose default is fear. And that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean you're a fearful person or an angry person. It just means that's how you interpret a situation, how you choose to go at it if you don't stop and breathe.
And wisdom is knowing what my default setting is, catching myself before I do something, and surrounding myself with smart people who know that's my default setting, right? I got a group of guys in my life who know I'm about to, they'll roll their eyes and say, that's Deloney, right? They know where I'm about to head with something, and they're there to kind of rein me back in.
Yeah. The phone number, if you want to talk to Dr. D about these things that are going on in the marketplace, 888-825-5225, 888-825-5225. One of you is going to be the first call he ever takes in his radio career. You have that opportunity right now. That's like winning the sweepstakes right there.
I'm going to, yeah, and that, I don't know what that wins you.
So, in most situations, in my experience, when the threat is real, people rise up. And in situations like this, where the fear has spread to a real threat to the point that the reaction does not match the threat, and you know, from the times you've done where you've been in crisis counseling with folks, you've been in situations like that, do you see that people have a tendency, just the human animal has a tendency to do that?
I think you just said it best. It's you kind of devolve to your animal instincts, right? Which is to either say all the information we're getting stupid, or all the information we're getting is the right thing, or I'm going to start buying toilet paper as though we're having a mass diarrhea epidemic, right? I mean, it's this, people are responding irrationally, right? Yeah, absolutely.
Dysentery is not one of the symptoms of coronavirus.
Not one of the things.
Yeah.
Not one of the things.
Yeah, it's not what's causing it, but I have no idea. And water, being in the water system is not one of the methods.
A couple of weeks ago when it started to
Bottled
sell
water,
out of water.
you couldn't get the bottled water.
I've got a hose. I don't know, man. I just don't get it. What are you doing? If there was a run on meat or a run on vegetables, I could go with that, or a run on vitamin C. Water. I got a sink, man. I got a bathtub. I mean, yeah.
As if the public water supply was going to get tainted.
Who knows? But again,
what was going through people's minds?
Nothing good.
Yeah.
Nothing thoughtful, I guess.
Yeah. So how do you talk to your teen right now, your college student that has been infected by this fear, and help them have the wisdom to address the actual threat without an overreaction?
I'll default back to another thing we learned in crisis counseling, which is facts are your friends. Be honest, be straightforward, be direct, which is we've never experienced this before. Some people are saying this, some people are saying this, some people are telling us to do this. And in this house, here's how we're going to handle it, right? And be pretty clear. I think having a plan for the next couple of weeks on here's what our days are going to look like, here's how we're going to interact with each other, here's how we're going to honor one another, here's how we're going to limit our screen time in the house. I think there's all kinds of things we can do, but you got to be intentional. Same as you would starting a business, same as you would trying to have a great marriage, right? You got to be intentional.
Okay.
Facts to your friends.
New Ramsey personality, Dr. John Deloney, joining us. We're talking from his perspective with a doctorate in counseling about the fear and the anxiety that's out there right now, the panic that's out there, the hysteria that's out there, how to deal with it personally, how to deal with it with others.
Bring it down.
Phone number here is 888-825-5225. Back with your calls.